Mission Control Center in Korolyov on the outskirts of Moscow as Russian flight controllers are watching their data screens and are in communications with 3 cosmonauts aboard the Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft, just 18 minutes away from the initiation of an engine firing that will last 4 minutes and 41 seconds, a braking maneuver to enable the Soyuz to slow down from its orbital velocity and re-enter the Earth's atmosphere for a parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan just over an hour and 11 minutes from now. Aboard the Soyuz MS-21, the 3 cosmonauts from Roscosmos. In the center, the Soyuz commander Oleg Artemyev, and to his left on the right of your picture is Denis Matveyev. On the left side of your screen, flight engineer Sergei Korsakov. They are wrapping up 195 days in space and 195 days aboard the International Space Station. For Artemyev, the landing that will occur just over an hour from now to bring his 3rd mission to an end will bring him a total of 561 days in space, 12th in the all-time endurance list. For Matveyev and Korsakov, they are completing their first flights into space, and again 195 days for those 2 cosmonauts. A little over 2 hours ago, the Soyuz MS-21 undocked from the Prishal node module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. The commands were given to open up the hooks holding the Soyuz to the Prishal module. That was launched back in November. This was the first vehicle to arrive at Prishal last spring, back in March, following the launch of these 3 cosmonauts from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Springs on both sides of the docking interface pushed off against one another, and the Soyuz backed away from Prishal. A pair of separation burns of the Soyuz engine accelerated the Soyuz departure away from the international outpost to a safe distance away from the complex, where we are standing by for the initiation of the deorbit burn about 16 minutes from now. That deorbit burn again will last 4 minutes and 41 seconds, a braking maneuver that will slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second, allowing it to drop out of orbit for a high-speed re-entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. This animation depicts the deorbit burn itself. The pyrotechnic separation of the 3 sections of the Soyuz will occur some 28 minutes after the deorbit burn. The lower section, the instrumentation and propulsion module, and the upper section, the orbital module, will separate, leaving just the descent module with the 3 cosmonauts strapped into their seats. The entry interface will occur. Temperatures around the vehicle will build to some 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, with the onboard computers aiming the Soyuz for a spot some 40 miles or so to the southeast of the remote town of Zhezkazgan. A series of parachutes will be deployed. First the drogue chutes, then the main parachute, and just seconds off the ground, braking rockets, soft landing engines as they're called, will fire to slow the Soyuz down, and the vehicle and its 3 occupants will be home. We'll talk more about the parachute deployment sequence here in just a moment. Here's a map of the Kazakhstan landing zone that the 3 cosmonauts will be returning to a short time from now. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters belonging to the Rosaviatsa Search and Recovery Forces, they deployed from the city of Karaganda to Zhezkazgan, a forward staging site and the closest site to the landing zone itself. There, the Russian search and recovery personnel are waiting to board those helicopters just moments from now, and those helicopters will take off from the Zhezkazgan airport, heading for the landing zone to the southeast. The landing site itself is in a very remote area of Kazakhstan. The helicopters and an Antonov 26 fixed-wing aircraft, along with a series of all-terrain vehicles, will be positioned around the landing zone, ready to begin the recovery operations of the cosmonauts and their extraction from the descent module that they'll be landing in, just within minutes, literally, of the time that they touch down, with landing scheduled at 5:57 a.m. Central Time, 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time, which will be 4:57 p.m. at the landing zone, just 2 hours and 9 minutes before sunset. The parachute deployment sequence is triggered by a barometric pressure sensor at about an altitude of 41,000 feet for the Soyuz vehicle. At this point, the main parachute cover is jettisoned by pyros and springs, pulling out 2 extraction chutes, which in turn pulls out the drogue chute, and in turn then pulls out the main chute. That all takes about 20 seconds to happen. At about 21,000 feet above the ground, another barometric pressure sensor starts a timer that triggers most of the remaining events in the landing sequence. The altitude of 18,000 feet begins the series of critical commands to first jettison the heat shield, inhibit the entry control thrusters, and to open up valves to vent hydrogen peroxide fuel for the entry control thrusters and the remaining oxygen in the life support system tanks. If we have video at that point in time, you'll be able to see a white vapor that is venting from the Soyuz. That is normal. It's a combination of hydrogen peroxide and oxygen that vents into the air, the purpose of which is to safe the vehicle for landing so that no residual hazardous gases remain in the tanks to greet the search and recovery forces when they approach the vehicle to begin the process of extracting the crew out of one of the hatches on the Soyuz spacecraft. It will depend on conditions on the ground as to whether the Soyuz lands upright or on its side. Either way, it should take just a matter of minutes to begin the extraction process. The 3 cosmonauts will be placed into comfortable chairs alongside of the Soyuz, an opportunity to get their landing legs back, if you will, back on Earth after 6.5 months of weightlessness before they are carried in those chairs to a nearby medical tent that will be erected by the search and recovery team. The cosmonauts will be given brief medical exams before they're loaded back onto Mi-8 helicopters for about a 2-hour flight back to the initial staging city of Karaganda, where they will board a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft for a flight back to their training base in Star City outside of Moscow. We're coming up on about 10.5 minutes before the beginning of the deorbit burn. Once again, a 4-minute, 41-second retrograde maneuver to slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second, allowing it to feel the effects of Earth's gravity and pull it out of Earth orbit for the beginning of the trip back into the Earth's atmosphere and the trip back to the landing site in Kazakhstan. The 3 cosmonauts bid farewell to their Expedition 67 counterparts on the International Space Station just before midnight Central Time. They then climbed aboard the Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft. They closed the hatch. They began the series of leak checks to make sure that they had an airtight seal between the Soyuz and the Prashal module to which they had been docked since March. Once that was accomplished, they donned their Sokol launch and entry suits and made other final preparations before they undocked from the International Space Station, the undocking occurring at 2:34 a.m. Central Time, 3:34 a.m. Eastern Time.
1, 2, 3. Done. We're putting in. It's already done? Okay, the command is done. Next is SKD -8. It's the maneuver. Copy. In 1.5 minutes. On the KSP, on the left one, the IKP is not illuminated. That's correct. It is not illuminated. Copy.
At the time of undocking a few hours ago, Expedition 68 formally began aboard the International Space Station under the command of Samantha Cristoforetti, the European Space Agency astronaut who assumed command of the station from Oleg Artemyev of Roscosmos on Wednesday morning. She will be the commander of the station for a few weeks until it's time for Cristoforetti and her four crewmates, Kjell Lindgren, Jessica Watkins, and Bob Hines, to begin the trip home. That is scheduled to occur in the mid-October timeframe, around October 12th or so. That will be refined as soon as we have a formal commitment for a launch date for the next quartet of crew members to fly to the International Space Station on the Crew Dragon Endurance. Cristoforetti again will hand off command of the station to Roscosmos cosmonaut Sergei Prokopyev at that time. Prokopyev launched 8 days ago with NASA astronaut Frank Rubio and Roscosmos cosmonaut Dmitry Petelin from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, temporarily expanding the population aboard the International Space Station to 10 crew members. Of course, with the departure today of Artemyev, Matveyev, and Korsakov, the station is back to its regular complement of 7 crew members. Just under 7 minutes now until the start of the deorbit burn. Artemyev will be calling out pressure readings and the duration of the burn and how it's going, as instructed by the Russian flight control team in Korolyov. About 10 seconds after the completion of the deorbit burn, the uppermost section of the 3-segment Soyuz vehicle, called the orbital module, will be depressurized. That is done in advance of the pyrotechnic separation of the 3 modules of the Soyuz, the upper portion, the orbital module, and the lower section, the instrumentation and propulsion module, will pyrotechnically separate from the center section, the descent module, where the 3 crew members are strapped into their seats. Artemyev in the center seat. Denis Matveyev, as board engineer number 1, is in the left seat, to the left side of where Artemyev is seated, and to Artemyev's right is Sergei Korsakov.
At 1300, full entry into installation.
The International Space Station and the Soyuz are passing off the southern coast of South America, about to begin a southwest and northeasterly track, currently at an altitude of 260 miles above the Earth. The deorbit burn will last again 4 minutes, 41 seconds, setting up the Soyuz for an entry back into the Earth's atmosphere.
You will control all the parameters, the control stabilization mode.
During the Soyuz descent towards what is called atmospheric entry or entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, the distance between the Soyuz and the International Space Station will be such that VHF communications are likely to become choppy and maybe non-existent for a period of time, certainly during the time the Soyuz is passing through what is known as the plasma regime that will last several minutes, where the temperatures around the spacecraft will build up and the ionization of plasma will prevent voice communications, even though Artemyev has been instructed by the Russian flight controllers to continue talking to provide updates, even though they may not be heard all the time on a continuous basis by the flight controllers in Korolyov.
Айдар, может G3 сейчас выдать, чтобы не отвлекаться?
Айдар, should we maybe send the command G3 right now?
Может G3 сейчас выдать, всем связи.
Come again. Maybe G3, you know, for the compass command should be sent right now? No, the specialists here are telling me that you don't have to do it now. Okay, copy.
Now just 2.5 minutes away from the initiation of the deorbit burn that will start the trip home for Artemyev, Matveyev, and Korsakov. The three Roscosmos cosmonauts wrapping up 195 days in space and aboard the International Space Station, a journey spanning 3,120 orbits of the Earth, some 78 million miles, launched back on March 18th, soon to begin the trip home with a landing schedule just 55 minutes from now on the remote steppe of Kazakhstan.
На input 2 тогда выбирайте формат маневр, линейку I.
Could you please select on input 2 display maneuver and line E? Copy.
Выдал G3.
I sent G3 command.
Принято, есть G3.
Copy. It is confirmed and the covers of SKD thrusters are open.
Coming up on the 30-second mark to the deorbit burn, everything in good shape.
Another display, control display. And Oleg, please select maneuver display. Copy.
На обоих input.
So on both inputs, you should select line E. It is highly desirable. I have selected it. And Oleg, please transition to maneuver display. Copy.
Так, ожидаем включения СКД.
We are standing by for SKD thruster firing. Copy.
Есть.
Thruster firing is
Standing by for the initiation of the deorbit burn.
firing is confirmed.
And the burn is now in progress. 4-minute, 41-second firing of the Soyuz engine. A braking maneuver to slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second.
Acceleration is nominal.
Принято.
Copy.
0,45.
0.45.
Отработали 30 секунд.
30 seconds. 13.8 meters.
Принято.
Copy.
Ускорение 0,40.
Acceleration 0.44.
За 45 секунд.
45 seconds. 19.9 meters.
Ускорение норма.
Acceleration is nominal.
Параметры КДУ норма.
Parameters of KDU
12,7.
are nominal. 12 and 7.
150.
150 and spherical tanks.
За минуту
1 minute.
отработали.
Artemyev reading out burn duration so far and the progress of the deorbit engine firing. 1 minute, 15 seconds into the burn that will last 4 minutes, 41 seconds.
Параметры КДУ норма.
KDU parameters are nominal. Copy. 1 minute 40 meters. Acceleration is nominal 0.45. 140 in spherical tanks. In number 1 and in number 2. 1 minute 45, 46 meters.
Just over 2 minutes into the burn.
58 meters. Acceleration.
Now halfway through the deorbit burn, everything looking good.
120.
At the airport in Zhezkazgan, Kazakhstan, Russian Mi-8 helicopters have their rotors up and running as the helicopters are about to take off in sequential fashion with members of the search and recovery forces. About a 35-minute flight to arrive at the landing zone and await the arrival of the 3 cosmonauts aboard the Soyuz MS-21. Now 3 minutes into the burn.
3 minutes, 89 meters. Acceleration 0.45. 110 in spherical tank. Copy. So the first zone has been done. Copy.
За 3
minutes.
3.5 minutes into the burn.
4 meters.
Ускорение 0,45.
Acceleration 0.45. Copy.
So far, so good. 1 minute left.
Параметры ходунок.
The parameters are nominal.
Шарбалонок по
100 in each spherical tank.
12,8
12 and 8.
Ускорение 0,46.
0.46 is acceleration now.
Отработали 4 минуты.
4 minutes
110 метров.
of operation, 110 meters, acceleration 0.46.
4 minutes, 15 seconds into the burn. About 30 seconds to go.
91 in spherical tank.
Отработали 4 минуты
4 minutes 30 seconds, 120 meters.
Готовимся к ГК.
We are ready for the cutoff command. Copy.
Отработали 4:40.
4 minutes and 40 seconds, 126 meters. Delta V. Cutoff command.
And the deorbit burn is complete.
Are connected and KSDBO is opening. Copy.
And the burn is reported by the Russian flight controllers to have been perfectly normal. 4 minute, 41 second retrograde engine firing, slowing the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second. The Soyuz soon to drop out of orbit for its high-speed entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. The upper section of the Soyuz, the orbital module, now being depressurized down to vacuum in advance of the pyrotechnic separation of the 3 sections of the Soyuz coming up in about 22 minutes. So with the deorbit burn having been successfully completed, the next step will be for the crew aboard the descent module to receive updated landing location information from ballistic specialists at the Russian Control Center. Again, the separation of the three sections of the Soyuz expected to occur at about an altitude of 140 kilometers above the Earth. That will be followed a short time thereafter by atmospheric entry. At that point, the three cosmonauts will feel the effects of Earth's gravity tugging at them for the first time in 195 days.
Stage 56 of the ODS.
And the upper section of the Soyuz, the orbital module, gradually being depressurized down to vacuum as per the plan.
Controllers. Rotational controllers. Okay, go ahead.
Touchdown on the steppe of Kazakhstan expected about 45 minutes from now. That will be preceded about 15 minutes before landing by the parachute deployment sequence.
Don Moscow, how do you copy? We copy you, Eldar. We also copy you loud and clear. Don't forget to release the push-to-talk button before the separation. Copy, thank you for the reminder. Also check your straps. Tighten them if necessary. Yes, we are doing.
The Russian Mi-8 helicopters are taking off in sequential fashion, headed for the landing site. The weather for today's landing, which occurs just over 2 hours before sunset at the landing zone, it's about 45 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy skies. No significant weather that will greet the three cosmonauts once they're extracted from the descent module within a few minutes after touchdown.
Okay, so the next event, unintelligible. MCC Don, Station Don, how do you copy? Sergey, we copy you loud and clear. I would like to wish you good luck. If you want, of course, you can wish us good luck, Sergey. I'm happy that the orbit burn was successful, nominal. So hugs for you, and we wish you a soft landing. This is Samantha.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at a view from the balcony camera overlooking the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow. Russian flight controllers are talking to the cosmonauts aboard Soyuz MS-21, which is headed home to wrap up a 195-day mission that carried Oleg Artemyev, Denis Matveyev, and Sergei Korsakov to the International Space Station. A journey of some 78 million miles spanning more than 3,100 orbits of the Earth. Artemyev on Wednesday handed over command of the International Space Station to European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, who now is the commander of the complex under Expedition 68 and will be that commander for the next few weeks until she hands over command to Russian cosmonaut Sergei Prokopyev, who arrived 8 days ago on the Soyuz MS-22 spacecraft, along with NASA astronaut Frank Rubio and Roscosmos cosmonaut Dmitry Petelin.
We also copy you loud and clear. We are getting ready for the separation. What about the BO pressure, Oleg? It is down. It has fallen. Minus 9 millimeters. Copy. And what about SR pressure? Descent module pressure? 169 is partial pressure. Water 10.1. 774 millimeters is the pressure in SR, and the temperature in descent module is 15.9.
About 14 minutes away from the pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz vehicle.
Command? Not yet. Copy.
The three cosmonauts are in the center section called the descent module, strapped into their seats, clad in their Sokol launch and entry suits.
Так, соответственно, минус минута, питание БИОС было, да?
Okay, minus minute unintelligible. Have you input the power of BIOS angular rate sensor?
Питание БИОС, готовность БИОС не смотрели?
Have you checked the readiness of BIOS? The power of BIOS? 13 minutes, 30 seconds until separation. KSS mode not later than 6 minutes. So we will start at 10 minutes prior the separation. Dimat, did you copy? Yes. Well, we can do it now. So we have to close our helmets.
The three cosmonauts receiving updates and instructions from the flight controllers outside of Moscow in the Russian Control Center, ensuring that they are following along with all the procedures that will precede the module separation that will occur at an altitude of 140 kilometers above the Earth.
The land from your window. Yes. Unintelligible.
The landing zone that will be the target for the Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft is a very wide open area, a very remote area to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan, which is familiar to those who follow these operations. The Rosaviatsa search and recovery team made their way from Karaganda to Zhezkazgan, the forward staging site. And the Russian Mi-8 helicopters are airborne heading to the landing zone itself from Zhezkazgan, about a 35-minute flight. They will arrive at the landing site and circle the area, awaiting the arrival of the Soyuz under its huge red or orange and white parachute, its main parachute. An Antonov 26 fixed-wing aircraft also will be in the vicinity, being able to establish voice communications with the cosmonauts as they approach the landing zone and relay data from the Soyuz spacecraft back to the flight control team in Korolyov. About 10 minutes away from module separation. Again, as the Soyuz moves further and further away from the International Space Station, VHF communications will be lost. At best, would be choppy for a time. And when the Soyuz enters the Earth's atmosphere and plasma builds up around the spacecraft, that will prevent communications from being provided between the cosmonauts and their flight control team. Once the Soyuz passes through that plasma regime, we expect VHF communications to be restored and eventually relayed through that Antonov aircraft that will be at the landing zone on the steppe of Kazakhstan. Aboard the International Space Station with the three cosmonauts headed for their landing some 33 minutes from now, Expedition 68 formally began at the point of undocking a few hours ago, almost 3 hours ago, under the command of European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti. Joining her on board, her four crewmates, Kjell Lindgren, Jessica Watkins, and Bob Hines of NASA. NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, who launched 8 days ago aboard the Soyuz MS-22 vehicle, along with Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin. We're about 6 minutes away from module separation. Telemetry from that activity should be relayed back to the Russian flight controllers through the Luch satellite system.
So, how much time is till the separation? Crew members talking to each other.
Coming up on about 3.5 minutes until module separation. This will take place at an altitude of about 140 kilometers. Again, the upper section called the orbital module that has been depressurized, and the lower section called the instrumentation and propulsion module. They will separate from the center section called the descent module that the 3 cosmonauts are strapped into. Oleg Artemyev in the center seat, to his left Denis Medvedev, and to his right Sergei Korsakov. The 3 cosmonauts saw the arrival of 6 visiting vehicles and the departure of 7 visiting vehicles during their 195 days in space and aboard the station. Artemyev wrapping up his 3rd flight into space in a total of 561 days, putting him 12th on the all-time endurance list. This was the first space flight for both Medvedev and Korsakov. The Soyuz is honed in on a spot to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan in Kazakhstan. The landing zone about 90 miles to the southeast of Zhezkazgan. The Russian search and recovery forces belonging to the civil agency known as Rosaviatsia. They are en route to the landing site aboard Mi-8 helicopters. Right after touchdown, one of the first helicopters to land will have personnel that will erect a medical tent to which the cosmonauts will be brought to after they've had a chance to get their their Earth legs back, seated in comfortable chairs near the capsule. They will receive preliminary medical exams and then be brought into the 3 of the helicopters that will be nearby for a 2-hour flight back to the staging city of Karaganda, where they will board a Gagarin cosmonaut training aircraft for a flight back to their training base and their homes in Star City. Standing by for confirmation of module separation. And we now have confirmation through data received at the Russian Control Center. Module separation has occurred. So the 3 sections are now independent of one another, and the only section that matters is the center section, the descent module, with the 3 crew members on board.
Equal to 2.
Next up, in about 2 minutes, will be the vehicle's entrance into the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of just under 100 kilometers, where temperatures around the spacecraft will build to some 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. We've reached the point where voice communications on the VHF loop between the Soyuz and the Russian Control Center is expected to become very choppy and somewhat unavailable for a period of time until the Soyuz approaches the landing zone, and that voice communications can be reestablished through the Antonov fixed-wing aircraft that is flying around the landing zone some 90 miles to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan. The Soyuz vehicle on course for a touchdown some 22 minutes from now on the steppe of Kazakhstan, now beginning to enter the Earth's atmosphere. About 3 minutes from now, the vehicle will enter into the plasma regime. The heat shield in the direction of travel will repel the heat building up around the Soyuz. Entry guidance will begin. This will be about a 3.5 minute period. Soyuz should be in that plasma regime right about now. Just under 20 minutes until touchdown. Soyuz should be exiting this plasma regime shortly. The maximum G loads, or the effects of gravity on the crew, will increase to their peak of about 8 Gs in just a couple of minutes. The command to open up the chutes to begin that parachute deployment sequence will occur about 14 minutes before touchdown at an altitude of 10.8 kilometers.
Донатса по Москве.
Dons, Moscow.
From now.
Dons, Moscow. Copy 9, loud and clear. G loads 4.26. How are we feeling? We're feeling good. What is the pressure?
762.
762. Copy, 762.
Перелетный промах 9
And reestablishment of voice communications with the crew. Oleg Artemiev reporting that the crew is feeling well. Everything in good shape.
To drop, the maximal was around 4. Now it's 3.6.
Принято.
100.
We're expecting the command to initiate the chute deployment about 2 minutes from now.
Integral 19. Current integral 19. Copy.
Так, рубежи все прошли уже.
Принято.
What about all the
Дискрет 19. Дискрет какой?
boundaries? We've passed them. What is the discrete?
Принято.
All zeros.
02 дискрет, 01 дискрет.
Принято.
01 is the discrete. Copy.
Мягкой посадки вам.
Спасибо.
We wish you a soft landing. Thank you.
Перегрузка 1.3. Высота 38.
Принято.
Elevation altitude 38.
Принято.
Copy.
Потом перейдите в формат ИП и КСП.
Then switch to other displays. Copy.
Так, сейчас, Анатолий, сейчас будет посадка.
Again, the crew has emerged from the plasma regime. The next milestone will be the deployment of the parachutes. First, drogue chutes, and then the main chute will be pulled out. We're expecting that to occur almost any time. The Rosaviatsa search and recovery forces are now in the vicinity of the landing zone, some 90 miles to the southeast of the town of Jez. The altimeter at the base of the Soyuz capsule that will provide altitude and rate of descent data to the onboard computers.
Так, самочувствие экипажа отлично.
The crew feels great.
Все штатно.
Everything is nominal.
The search and recovery forces in Kazakhstan reporting that the parachutes have been deployed.
Ожидаем отстрела боевой теплоты.
And there's our first view of the Soyuz MS-21.
Standing by for the thermal protection and the
Есть. Есть. Отстрел теплозащиты.
we see the removal of the thermal protection.
Есть введение кресел.
Radio beacon on the Soyuz providing telemetry back to the Antonov 26 fixed-wing aircraft. That data being relayed to the Russian control team outside of Moscow.
Самочувствие экипажа отличное.
The crew feels great.
Кресла взвелись норма. Давление
The seats
падает.
have been armed nominally. The pressure is dropping.
Тоже барометрическая появилась, 4700.
Так, сколько там уже?
2.
7.5 minutes before touchdown. Oleg Artemiev continuing to report back that the crew is...
Втягиваемся сколько можно. Сколько нужно.
Clear skies, temperatures in the mid-40s Fahrenheit, awaiting the arrival of Artemiev, Matveyev, and Korsakov, just minutes away from wrapping up 195 days away from the planet.
Серег, ПСС видишь? Нет, не вижу. Спит. Верблюдов. Отлично. Сколько? 3. У меня там троих как раз доедет.
We should be seeing a few minutes from now the presence of Mi-8 helicopters with the search and recovery forces aboard, basically circling the landing zone awaiting touchdown, at which point they will land themselves in sequential fashion to begin the process of arriving at the spacecraft to safe the vehicle and begin the extraction of the crew.
Copy.
Так. Серег, не видел?
5 minutes until touchdown. Everything proceeding on track. The Soyuz in good shape. The crew feeling well.
Так, самочувствие экипажа отличное, давление высота 540 мм.
The crew is feeling great and audible.
Давление кислорода 109. Перекись 10.1 в первом, 0.4 во втором.
0.4 in the second.
В третьем баллоне кислорода 5. Вышел весь. Президент, спасибо.
Copy and thank you.
Должны уже вперед летать. Очень маленький сектор иллюминатора видно. Ладно, тебе не надо. Можешь посмотреть.
Опустилась шторка.
На глазах?
Нет. На иллюминатор.
Самочувствие экипажа отличное, давление высота 576 миллиметров.
The crew feels great. The pressure in the SS 776 millimeters.
Принято 1,5 километра.
Copy. 1.5 kilometers. We're trying to spy you as well, but we're not successful yet on the camera. Copy.
Готовимся к посадке.
Getting ready for the landing.
Just a second or two before touchdown, the soft landing engines will fire. One final braking maneuver to cushion the impact. About 3 minutes before touchdown.
приняли. Спасибо.
1,300 copy and thank you.
Работает. Вот. Запись работает? Самочувствие экипажа отличное, готовы к посадке.
The crew feels great. We are ready for landing.
Готовимся, подтягиваемся. Давление высота 537. Перекись 7.7, 0.3.
And the first view of one of the Rosaviatsa Mi-8 helicopters.
900 метров приняли.
900 meters, copy. Getting ready for landing.
Так, еще раз. Может.
Just under 2 minutes until touchdown.
И это может. Ну что, скоро дом. Принято 500 метров.
Copy, 600 meters.
Есть, ты как себя чувствуешь?
Я хорошо.
Отлично.
Больше я не разговариваю.
Все, давай. Пошли. Берешь? Конечно. Его упаковка он летает. Ты узнал свою?
Угу.
Принято, 500 метров высота. Самочувствие экипажа отлично.
Copy, 500 meters is the altitude. The crew feels great.
1 minute until touchdown.
It's 666.
Принято.
Copy.
Так. Угол у нас растет. 4.6.
4.6.
Так, ножик я приготовил. Принято 250 метров. Готовы к посадке.
Copy, 250 meters, ready for landing.
Принято 200 метров.
All is going very well. The Soyuz just seconds away from touchdown. And touchdown. Touchdown confirmed at 5:57 a.m. Central Time, 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:57 p.m. at the landing site. The soft landing engines firing just a second or two before touchdown. Artemyev, Matveyev, and Korsakov home after 195 days in space. All of the events from hatch closure to undocking to deorbit burn to landing all went exactly as planned. We'll stand by now for the reports from the search and recovery forces as to whether the spacecraft landed upright or on its side. And the first of the Mi-8 helicopters beginning to land to begin the process of safing the vehicle, erecting a medical tent near the capsule, and extracting the crew. Once again, Soyuz MS-21 back on Earth with Oleg Artemyev, Denis Medvedev, and Sergei Korsakov. Landing occurring 3 minutes ago at 5:57 a.m. Central Time, 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time. And the search and recovery forces report that the Soyuz landed in a vertical position that will help facilitate the extraction of the crew once the search and recovery forces all arrive around the spacecraft. The all-terrain vehicle with the video equipment will be moving towards the Soyuz vehicle itself to reposition and hopefully provide views of the crew being extracted from MS-21. Again, landing occurring on time, bullseye landing, in fact, at 5:57 a.m. Central Time, 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time. 4:57 p.m. at the landing site, about 2 hours and 9 minutes before sunset. This is Mission Control Houston. The 3 cosmonauts who departed the International Space Station several hours ago are back on Earth. Their Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft landing upright on the steppe of Kazakhstan, some 90 miles to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan. Landing occurring right on the dot at 5:57 a.m. Central Time, 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time. The Rosaviatsa search and recovery team on the ground on the steppe of Kazakhstan, making their way toward the spacecraft to begin erecting a nearby medical tent and begin the process of safing the vehicle and extracting the crew. The 3 cosmonauts will be placed in chairs alongside the spacecraft so that they have a few minutes of an opportunity to regain their equilibrium following 195 days of weightlessness. They will be brought to that nearby medical tent for medical exams to get out of their launch and entry suits and into more comfortable clothing. And then they'll board a trio of Mi-8 helicopters for a 2-hour flight back to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan, where they will board a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft for a flight back to their training base outside of Moscow in Star City. This is Mission Control Houston. While we await the repositioning of the all-terrain vehicle with the video equipment alongside of the Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft. On board the International Space Station, Expedition 68, now well underway. The expedition beginning, and there is our first view from the landing site.
All okay?
Again, the MS-21 landed right on the money upright, as you can see, and the process of extracting the crew now will get underway. 3 chairs have been set up near the spacecraft to accommodate the 3 cosmonauts, who will have a few minutes of an opportunity to get their land legs back. Expedition 68 began formally with the undocking of the MS-21 a few hours ago under the command of European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, who will be the commander of the station for a few weeks now until she hands over command to Roscosmos cosmonaut Sergei Prokopyev.
Guys, can you hear? A surgeon will be right here. This is the area exposed to radiation. Who's the first?
Cristoforetti joined on board the International Space Station by NASA astronauts Kjell Lindgren, Jessica Watkins, Bob Hines, and Frank Rubio, along with Prokopyev and Roscosmos cosmonaut Dmitry Petelin. Again, you are looking live at the landing site for MS-21, and Oleg Artemyev, Denis Matveyev, and Sergei Korsakov, who touched down about 15 minutes ago, following 195 days in space.
Roman, is everything okay? There we go, Sergei. Guys, tell us how you feel. We feel great. Very good. Excellent. We feel excellent.
Those are the words you want to hear. Oleg Artemyev reporting that he and his crewmates are feeling great. They will be extracted shortly. Artemyev will be the first out.
Do you have a bag? Leadership, please give some room for Imogen. Let's take a couple of pictures of the entire crew inside. Okay, and not one. One, two, three. Okay, take the fourth one. It's on the leg. One more pair. Careful, careful. Okay, watch your knee. Okay, like that. All right, guys. Give me the tablet. All right. Start moving. Well, he's at home already. Okay, here is the bag. It seems like that's it. We collected it.
Some of the items inside the Soyuz spacecraft being dispositioned by the initial members of the recovery team belonging to RSC Energia.
Okay. Communication, oxygen, ventilation. How was everything now? You can unbuckle. All right. Okay. Is that it? Yes. The gloves. Where are the gloves? I took the gloves. I have it. Okay. All right. Take it away. Where are the books? Oleg, hand us the books. Is it urgent? Okay, here we go. Hello, Oleg.
The search and recovery personnel attending to some of the items inside the Soyuz before they begin extracting the crew. Oleg Artemiev, having completed his third flight into space, a total of 561 days on those 3 flights. Denis Matveyev and Sergei Korsakov home back on Earth after their first flight into space, 195 days.
Right. Is it in your bag? Okay, guys, you'll figure it out later. Okay. Look at this pointer. Is it on your way, perchance? You see, on your right, there is a pointer. I can't see it yet. What is this? Oleg? Are you unbuckled? Try to push PDT and just stuff the headset all the way down into the back. Okay, okay, very good. Are you ready? Very good. It's all okay. Is it too low, maybe? No, okay, give me a hand. All right, let me move it down there. It's okay. Can be right here. Just stand by for 1 second. Okay, I am ready. Well, something sticking out of your pockets, probably. Check the pocket. Okay, shall we take it off now? Hold on a second. Well, that won't help much.
Once again, you're looking at the landing site on the steppe of Kazakhstan, some 90 miles to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan, where the Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft landed about 24 minutes ago, bringing Oleg Artemyev, Denis Matveyev, and Sergei Korsakov home after 195 days in space and aboard the International Space Station.
Okay. Let's go. What?
We should be seeing Oleg Artemyev being extracted from the hatch of the descent module a short time from now.
Okay. Still. Try to protect the helmet right now. Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. Slowly. Yeah, he'll fit through. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were behind me. Okay, make sure we bring him here and we have something soft for him here. Okay, you'll put it back later. Oh, no, hold it. Wait a second. Put your arm down now. Okay. Did you forget? I told you. Did you ask him? All right. Let's keep going. Oleg, watch for the cord and the hose. What else? What else can hold him? 1, 2, 3. There we go.
And the Soyuz commander and the Expedition 67 commander, Oleg Artemyev, now out of the Soyuz MS-21.
Hello, Oleg. Hello. Good job. With your right arm. Hold it. Wait a minute. Oleg? Okay, like this, that's enough. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, let's take the gloves. Okay, turn him in this direction and then pull up his legs. Everything's fine. All right, just move your legs to the right. No, to the left. to the left. Okay, I'm holding you, and careful, guys, lift him up. Hold him, and there we go. All right, hold him under the arms too.
Oleg Artemyev back on terra firma.
Bend his legs. Oleg, do you need a bag possibly? Are you okay? No? Thank you. Did you start measuring? Yes. Heart rate 108. Saturation. Okay, the sinusoid rhythm.
Давления нет? Пока нет. Ну ладно. Все, слышишь? Часы 98. 98 сатурация. Сейчас помню, сатурация 98. Путь 108. Сейчас давление показывает. Налево, направо, направо.
30 minutes after the Soyuz MS-21 landed on the steppe of Kazakhstan, some 90 miles to the southeast of the town of Jezkazgan, the Soyuz commander, Oleg Artemyev, is now being attended to, getting a chance to get his land legs back. His Soyuz crewmates, Denis Medvedev and Sergei Korsakov, will be extracted from the Soyuz vehicle momentarily.
Ну что сказать, давление? Подожди. 157 на 120. Сейчас попозже пойдем.
Первая жизнь.
Протрите ему там. Нет, глаз сюда. Вы уже достали уже. Протрите это. О, протрите ему. Ну что, задание мы закончили? Да, 40 на 90. Сколько? 40 на 90. ЧСС 94, 95.
Лимоном, ну, наверное, холодновато делать. Так, я листом был лазарем. Передал капусту, его подержу.
Где он у меня?
Хорошо.
Чемцев, ты передал? Давление?
Я говорю, нет, опять на весь ТикТок прославился, что я морковку забрала. Немножко точно. Там только хорошая девушка, выбираю, как надо. Работает.
Ребята, мы с вами тоже. Эта планета нас держит.
Я даже не помню, что я у вас выбирала морковку. Так вот сейчас.
You are watching live coverage of the recovery of the 3 cosmonauts who landed a short time ago in the Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft, having departed the International Space Station several hours ago, concluding Expedition 67, handing over Expedition 68 to the new station commander, Samantha Cristoforetti of the European Space Agency. 4 NASA astronauts and two cosmonauts who launched 8 days ago on the Soyuz MS-22 spacecraft, along with NASA astronaut Frank Rubio.
Что передать?
Дорого. Denis Matveyev now out of the Soyuz vehicle. He was in the left seat as board engineer number 1 during undocking and entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. The Soyuz landed at 5:57 a.m. Central Time, 6:57 a.m. Eastern Time.
Тебя семья видит.
Да?
Да, на прямом экране. Да. Сути на прямом экране. Можете сказать, на улице.
Жалко, я вас не вижу, мои любимые.
It's too bad that I cannot see you, my dear, my beloved ones. I hope that I'll see you today and I'll hug you all. I love you so much. Are you? Well, okay, yes. Let's go take him there to the seat.
Korsakov now out of the Soyuz vehicle.
Keep it closed.